Hello and welcome. It's a good day to be on the farm. My name is Chuck, and this is Horsch and Hay, episode 2. In the last episode, we harvested until our harvester and our tipper were both full, and then we had to get a solution for that, which are those silos you can see off in the distance. And then, since we were messing around with the new expansions, the hay expansion, we got earlier, we got a forge wagon that also picked up the hay. So in this episode, we need to finish the harvest. We need to find a place to put that hay because the tank on the back of that forge truck that we got isn't very big, I've discovered. It's like 13.9 thousand liters, which sounds like a lot, but unfortunately, it filled up pretty fast, so we're going to have to do lots of loads with that forge wagon if that's what we're going to do. I'm trying to think of what the best angle for this is. Yeah, we'll just go back this way. So we need to find out what to do with that hay. Now that we have what we need to store the wheat that we're getting off of this field, we're good to go there. And then we need to decide what we're going to do with our second field. That's kind of the big question for this episode, is where do we want to go next? As you recall, there's a couple of fields we looked at. There's a wheat field, but it has large weeds and isn't fertilized, so the yield is going to be pretty low. So we would essentially just be doing the same thing that we're doing here, but getting less out of it. And it's also not adjacent to anything, so I don't think that's probably the route we want to go. There's a sunflower seed just south of here. If you can look on the mini map, it's field 11 when we're on field 10 right now. So that's an option, but we don't have the right header for that. Luckily, we could rent that header if that's what we decided to do, and that field's smaller, so we might actually be able to afford it without taking out a loan. Not that I'm necessarily opposed to it, but we'll see what happens. And then the third option is that soybean field that is also maxed out with fertilization and yield bonus and all that stuff. And our current equipment could harvest it, which is nice. So that is probably the number one way that I'm leaning. Just because if we're going to do the work, we might as well get as much of a harvest off of it as we can. The downside is it is out of our price range. Just flat out, it is more than we can afford without getting a loan or doing something else. I'm actually going to come down here and cut this at a diagonal just for fun while I'm talking about this. So that is kind of the question, is do we want to do that? Also, I don't think soybeans leave straw, and since we're going to have plenty of straw off of this field, I don't know that we need to harvest a second field that gives us straw. But we're going to have to take out a loan to get it. And the problem also is that of all the equipment and all the land that we've bought so far, we haven't actually bought anything to turn the field over. Like, we don't have a planter, we don't have a cultivator, we don't have a fertilization method, a weeding method, any of that stuff. So it's like, yes, we have some land and we have some equipment, but we are not really prepared to turn a profit on anything until we invest quite a bit more money in equipment. So, like, the safe play, if you want to call it that, would be to just not even buy any land and use our remaining $360,000 to buy all the equipment we need to turn around and get a profit on this land. But I don't really like doing that either. I think doing one field farms is kind of boring, and wouldn't be very entertaining therefore for a YouTube video, just because, like, you're only producing one thing, and then you're like, once you get it planted and fertilized, you're like skipping 6 or 7 months at a time just to get to when you can harvest it, and then you don't make that much. Like, it's fine, but it's like when you get all this big equipment to make farming profitable at all, you have to do several fields Otherwise, it really just doesn't pay off. So anyway, all right, we have finished the harvest here. I'm not going to worry about that little spot right there, or that spot around the edge. Let me just, I guess, bring this up here, and we won't have to drive very far for this. But here's our Fendt. I think it's a Fendt. Yeah, Fendt with our Kloss tipper and a front loader. I'm not really sure why I got this front loader. I just figured when I was buying it, I might as well get the front loader that goes with it, but it's not like we have pallets yet. But we will, I'm sure. So that's kind of what I need to figure out today. We're going to get the straw next, but let's take a look at these fields once this is done dumping. So we flip back over here. We'll just put the pipe in. Oh, can't fold it yet. Gotta fold it up and then turn it off. In fact, while we're doing that, why don't we... Where is my... Oh, I was going to say, where is my header trailer? But this is the one that has the header trailer attached to it. So I guess I'm just going to park this right here for now. Just kind of in the back. Alright, so we're going to take this, we're going to turn around and dump it, and then we'll leave the tipper here. And then we'll take a look. So we're kind of setting up our homestead here. Obviously, since this is where our silo is, we're never going to get rid of this field because we need to always have access to our silo. So it's really just kind of how do we want to expand out here. And that's always a tough kind of question. You know, like where do we want to go? So let me, now that we can kind of drive a little bit, take a closer look. So again, number one is this field right here. It's not ready to harvest yet, but it will be soon. But 98 and 100%, so ready to go, and we could maybe afford it. But again, we're not going to have a ton of money for equipment. But it's only like 10:51 in August right now, so we do have some hay to pick up. Let's just go look at that other soybean field, because I think that's probably the direction I'm leaning, but that just means we're going to be in debt for a while, which is fine. So it would get us back up here and include this nice scenic drive as we're taking the equipment between the two farms every time. I don't know, I just really like this little path. But so it's this right up here, so it'd be this field 7. Hold on, sorry, field 8 here. Yeah, this is the canola has all been harvested. This is the one that had all the weeds, so I guess it wasn't wheat, it was canola. So anyway, soybeans growing 98%. Again, they're not ready to harvest either, but so I guess we don't have to make this decision today. I thought we were like going to do some more harvesting, but harvested, growing. So if we buy either of these, 7 or 11, we're going to have to wait. We could theoretically buy 8, but again, that's going to take all of our budget, and we don't even get any crop off of it. So it just doesn't make as much sense to me. Or it's, yeah, so 7 or 11, but we're going to have to wait apparently for either of those to harvest. So that's good to know. Which means we need to worry about hay right now, I guess. How much is this one again? Sorry. Yeah, this one's 466,000. So we're already 100,000 shy, and that's no equipment. Like, we have everything that we need for the farm, which we certainly don't. So, but the bright side is, if we buy this and harvest it, we don't actually need to start planting anything again until the spring. So we can kind of fast forward a few months, sell the harvest that we did get, hopefully buy a little bit of equipment off of sales and go from there. Otherwise, it's this one here, which 262 would leave us $100,000. So that's, yeah, $200,000 swing. Obviously a much bigger field, but $200,000 swing. Give us a little room. We still need to buy the equipment, but we'd have to rent that header. But I don't think that's terrible. And it is right, this road would bisect our farmland. So we'd have, I do like that. We would have essentially two adjacent properties, so we wouldn't have to be carting things up and down that road all the time. I think I'm talking myself into sunflowers, guys. I didn't think I was going to, but I think that's what's happening because I can't harvest those soybeans today either. And it feels like a reach to try to stretch and buy a field that's bigger and then not have any equipment when we could just lease the header that we need. All right, anyway, I'm going to, I guess, just park this here. So I guess the question that we need to answer then is, what are we going to do with all this straw? Well, I guess the first thing, we decided we're going to do this. So let's just make that decision and buy it so that we've got our 2 pieces of land ready to go and we don't have to talk about that in episode 3. Then second, here is our forging wagon. We're at 41% now. Let's just go ahead and get this full. There's 2 options. We can just take this and cart it over to sell it right now, but it is it's not that big of a wagon at 13, basically 14,000 liters. Like we're 91, 92, we're gonna fill it fast. I'm gonna have to go forward and backward over this section. Yeah, we're at 100%. So this thing is at 100% now. That didn't take long at all. If we were gonna sell straw, let's find out where we would do that, because that may. Gotta scroll all the way to the bottom. Okay, you have to scroll to the middle. Here it is. Oh, there's plenty of places. So 62, 58. Let's look at the price fluctuations. Bramble store. So 88. Yeah, I mean, we're taking like a 30% hit if we sell it right now. But in my experience, at least on another map that I'm playing, currently it never got anywhere close to that 88. It got up into the high 60s, low 70s. But that may or may not be worth storing it. But let's just see if any of these are close. So, Bramble's store. No, that is a long drive for every 14,000 liters. Don't want to do that. Let's take a look at the Meadow Falls bales. I was hoping there'd be one down here. Meadows Falls is also way up there. Sunny Banks. Okay, Sunny Banks is straight down here. I like that. We could just zip down to Sunny Banks, dump it off now. That's not a terrible drive. Okay. It is, of course, our worst price. Not 58's second to worst price. And the tree bales at 63. Yeah, so Sunny Banks here is 58, 63 if we just drive around the corner a little bit. You know what? Let's just see. And there's plenty of straw on here. I was going to maybe store some of it, but let's just take one quick. I haven't seen this part of the map at all, and I've never actually seen this forge wagon unload, so a couple of reasons why this would be interesting to do. And you can see that green pillar from when it's tagged already hanging out down there. So this is, the nice thing is this is fast. Like, well, 32 miles an hour fast, but feels fast. Now that we've got everything loaded up. So it won't be that long of a trip to drive down here to dump this stuff off if this is what we're going to do. How do you get back there? There seems to be a fence. Quick access if you don't have to drive all the way around. Alright, here is this. So we have to drive past it. Turn back in here. And I don't know, we're going to make, what, $1,000 off this? Maybe. Maybe. But it's right here. We can overload the straw here. Yeah, maybe 2,000. Nope, 884. Alright, so right now, let's see if we can get out down here, if there's a better way to get out of this fence. Up here is pretty walled off. We can get behind these silos, but that's going to add even more confusion. So yeah, there's no connection there. So yeah, we basically have to drive past these apartment looking things and then past this big barn. Okay. Yeah, because there's a fence right there too. Ignore my terrible driving as we figure this out. Alright, so I can do basically $880 a load to dump there. There is that one that's closer, but again, it was at $58 versus 63, I think is what we got here. So the other option that we have, and I will just drive back to the back corner of the lot where I was thinking about this, is to put in a hayloft. Somewhere to store the hay. Now, unfortunately, we can't store the hay in our silo. That would be too easy. So we could use a hayloft, but that's like, I think, $60,000 or something like that just to store hay. And if we don't have animals as a reason to use it, like, I mean, that was one load that got us to that $800. So it's nice to be able to pull that off and kind of do it. It would be nice also to hold on to the hay till the price was better, or use it for our animals so we don't have to buy it. But anyway, let's just look at this. So if I was to buy construction and the silo and the hayloft, yeah, $63,500 to get this. We could certainly pop this on the back of the property. Probably we want it pretty level, so 550. Sorry, 63,500. So this is probably about as level as we're going to get it, and to do a straight back, and then you basically drop off the hay on that southern end where you can see the unload area, and then you go through. Oh, I'm actually moving it. You go through and drive through the middle to load it up, which I think our tipper would fit under there, right? Like, we'd want to haul it in our tipper because that's worth more. I mean, holds more. So this is the other option. We can buy this and have that on the back of the property to store the hay, and then we can continue to do hay producing products, but it only holds 250,000, which is what? I don't know why I'm trying to do this math. 14, 28, 56 to 4, 112. I mean, it's like 16 to 18 loads of hay. So that's what I mean. It's like we can drop the hay here and we can hold 16 to 18 loads of hay, which will save us a lot of drive time for just selling it now, but we could just take the money now because we know we need to buy equipment and save. We're not going to make $63,000 off the hay for this one, and if we're not going to store it, like the difference that we're going to make holding the hay until like December or January isn't a lot. Yeah, I'm talking myself right out of this. So I think the best option at this point is just to keep gathering the hay in this, and then just dropping it off, because that's not that long of a drive down there to do that. So I think that's pretty much what the rest of this episode is going to be. I was going to buy that hayloft, actually. It was my plan before I started, or some form of storage. And maybe we can keep one load of hay in here, just in case we decide we want to do animals, but I don't know, like, really don't know what kind of animal we'd want to do. Like, we're certainly not going to be harvesting enough different type of crops for pigs. Cows are nice, but we don't have a grass field, so we're like not really messing around with that. Yeah, this is going to be a lot of trips down there to do this, but I think this is we're getting use out of this new piece of equipment, which is nice. We're going to see a different part of the map, which is nice. I wish I could overload this into the tipper so I could make, less trips down here. But to each his own. That's not what our farm is set up to do. And I do like the little plots that we've been given, so we're just going to have to keep an eye out on the sales as we're fast forwarding, just to see if there's any other opportunities to get some cheap equipment, because we're going to need. So I think that's a good conversation piece for now. Let's figure out what else we're going to need on this farm as we're moving forward. Obviously, we need some sort of cultivator or a mulcher, but I think a cultivator would make the most sense to prep the field now that it's been harvested, get it back to cultivated or to a seed bed. Either one of those would work. And then we've got a planter. Now, theoretically, if we got a direct drill planter, we could skip the cultivation step, and that would be one less time over the field, and also save us the money of trying to pay for a cultivator or a mulcher at this point in time. So if we find a direct drill planter, we could just basically do harvest straight to plant with that. Problem is, those are usually more expensive or require a lot more horsepower. So we have a pretty small tractor, to be honest. I mean, it's a medium tractor, I think, but it's like not going to pull the big seeders that direct drill when you plant. So we need to figure that out. But basically, yes, seeding. We need a way to seed the field, and then beyond that, like if we get a seeder that direct drills, at the bare minimum, you could basically harvest with a harvester and seed it with the seeder, and you can at least turn the fields over. So I guess that's probably the number one piece of equipment we're thinking about, just because that allows us to make money off of these fields, which is important. I'm going to get this little section here that we left from the first load. I do like this little truck, but I'm wondering if it was a wise investment. I wanted to try out new equipment, and that is what we're doing. So maybe we should look at seeders in the Aggrovation, the Horsch one, and see if there's a direct driller in there, so we could try a new seeder as well. Hopefully I didn't really think about that. Hopefully our tractor would have the horsepower we need for something like that. Anyway, I was saying that I don't know that this forge wagon was the best idea for us. Now, there are mowers So the nice thing is, ooh, let me think about that again. All right, we've taken 2 loads down there, which is fine. And we're making a little money, which is also good. But what I was thinking is, since the hay pack has mowers and things in it, maybe we would need to mow the land around our fields. We could do that now. We could use the forge wagon to pick up that grass. And I wonder if a hayloft... Yeah, let's stop for a second. I always have to look at the island. So grass is the green triangle. Hay is like more yellow, and then straw is that. So those are kind of our 3 icons. Let's take a look at this, because if the hayloft will actually take grass and turn it into hay for us, no, storage space for hay and straw. But so 250,000 liters of hay is one thing, or straw is one thing, but if we can also do hay in here, that's nice. And then we could use the forge wagon to not only pick up the straw off the field, but pick the hay up off the outside. We would just need a tedder, a mower and a tedder. So we could mow the outside of the field and ted it as well, and then store the hay in the hayloft. Suddenly this is looking more appealing than it did before. And also I don't have to drive. Even though it's not that far, it's still going to be, what, 10 plus trips with this little tank just to dump this hay off, which is better than baling, maybe. But the thing about bales is you make them all here and then you drive them all over at once. So, and yeah, let's just take a look at the pack. That's probably, so hay and forage, there's all these little mowers, but we could just buy some of these mowers, that we can attach to our existing tractor, probably this Krone, to start. And then here is a Krone tedder to turn it into hay. So yeah, between this, for like 31,000, we could do a 3.2 is 6.4, and then another 3, 6, 7, 8, and 9.6. Here's an 8.2 tedder. So yeah, we could essentially make hay and then put hay in there. These are some other mowers we could do, but they're only 3. This is a 9, but we don't have the horsepower for that, do we? No, you're a windrower. Oh, these are all windrowers. Ooh, see, like I like this at 7, but that's 91,000. Here's a nice cheap windrower. Here's a super expensive windrower. And then obviously these big ones here for forging for the pottingers. So yeah, we could get these Krone things that are part of the new pack. Try those out. So we'd have a mower and a tedder. So that could be interesting. Is this a front and a back? How does that work? Maybe try out this to see. I mean, this is clearly a front mower, right? And you're... I don't understand how that works, because it would be in line. I feel like they would need to be offset. Tornado plus. Maybe we'll try that just to see, rather than just accepting a back mower. I don't know. Yeah, but maybe, okay. All right. So if we do, let me just make sure there's mulchers, cultivators. So yeah, these are the other things we could do is obviously we need to prep the field. Here's a nice 6-meter shallow cultivator for 25,000. That's kind of nice. That would get us going. I think our tractor has 220. Yeah, it has 228. Ooh, that's probably just about right then. So yeah, this is a nice cultivator. but that's just one extra time that we need to go over the field. Do they have planters here? Yes, they do. You are a planter. Seed directly. So this one, yeah, so here's the Horsch Pronto DC, which would allow us to direct drill seed crops like wheat, barley, or canola, and we can direct drill. So here's a 6 meter. Yeah, this one's out of our range. This one's 200 horsepower, so we could do the Pronto here, direct drill with that. I'd rather do that than this 3 meter one, to be honest. So we can direct drill, not cultivate in the beginning if we want. And then do some hay and stuff. Yeah, I think, you know, knowing that we could make hay with all the grass from around our two fields, because there's quite a bit of grass, that maybe we should get this. I mean, we don't really need to store it, but we would save us trips because I think we can pull the tipper under there. And how big is our tipper? I should know this. Yeah, 22.5. It's almost double of what our current forage wagon does. But this would give us a reason, if we're going to make hay and we're not baling, then we have a forage wagon for two reasons: straw on the field, hay off of the field, and then we can store both of those. And then we can decide what we want to do after that. So, okay, I talked myself into it. Sorry for all of that back and forth. And I think we've got a relatively good plan for the equipment. So we want to get, 550. Boom. How is that looking? Just wanted to know, is that, like, do we need to rotate that at all? I just want to be pretty parallel to the back of the field. Yeah, so there is our hayloft. Overload the straw here. Yeah, I think since we want to try out new equipment, we'll try out some new mowers, we'll try out a new tedder. Looks kind of like an old tedder, but it is one from the new pack, so there's that. And then basically when you need to load it back up, you come back through here. Looks like they should have plenty of room for the tipper. And maybe we will do animals here. Like, you never know. Since we're going to have this, we could decide what we want to plant based on that. So, I don't know. Overall, I think that's a good decision. You guys can let me know in the comments below if you agree. But we've got direction now. That's always good to have some direction and to kind of know what we're expecting. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of the hay off of here. I'll probably do most of this off camera because now that you've seen me do 2 loads and you've seen where I'm dumping it, there's really not a lot else for you to watch. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and we figured out which field we bought, so we just got to wait till those are ready, and we got to lease that header, and then eventually we need to get some mowing stuff going. So I'll probably do some of that in the next episode as well, depending. All right, well, I appreciate you guys watching. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please subscribe so you don't miss any episodes, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Have a great day. Bye-bye.